So here we are back with Living Purpose Institute. I'm Patrick Harbula, the director, and we're talking about life coaching today in our life coaching certification program. And so I have with me my good friend Christina, and also a client. And we did a process in a previous video called pivoting, and then shortly after that we did a voice dialogue. So you're going to share a little bit of your experience with that, what's happened since then, and just dialogue about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, after the pivoting, I did feel a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I felt better, easier, not that much tension. And then the exercise, the talking dialogue,
Voice dialogue,
the voice
yeah.
dialogue, that was very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That I kind of almost felt out of body almost because you forced me to look at the dark side of myself.
That's how I do. I force people.
Not forced, but like, no, but like you know, that was the whole
Yes,
exercise.
I invited you.
Yeah, like you invited me, but like I felt like I had to force myself to face that part of myself and really communicate with it, and it wasn't easy.
Right.
Like it wasn't easy to find the like just to face that part of yourself and to give it a name or to kind of identify with it in that way. And so having that and going through and having that conversation and having myself speak to it, and then having that speak to me and the whole process.
Yeah, and as I described, in the prelude to that or warming you up to that, how the voice dialogue works is we identify a part of ourselves that we think is the problem. It's what's holding us back. And what we find out, what I've found out in doing this process with thousands of people now, is that what we think is the problem, what we think is holding us back, actually contains the quality that we most need to move forward in our lives.
Yeah.
So in your case, what I don't remember exactly what we started out with. What was the darkness?
The darkness that I just wasn't happy with life. I wasn't being part of life. Didn't really kind of to the point where it's a scary place, like where it didn't really matter.
Right.
Like it just
and so the inner voice was, as I'm recalling now, was telling you was kind of a critical inner voice, telling you that you're not good enough, right?
Yeah, that I somehow deserved these problems, that I deserved being beat down, that this is my life, and kind of like get used to it or something, like because this is what it is.
Now what we found out is actually what that energy was trying to do in an unskillful way. That's the thing. These parts of ourselves that, in subpersonality theory, what happens is a need that is consistently not met as a child starts trying to get that need met. And it's really a beneficial energy, but it's just not skillful because it's very young. And so it's trying to protect you and keep you safe by telling you these things, because otherwise you might get a big head, or you might start accomplishing things that you can lose, and that would be more hurtful than not having those things. And so then when we find out what its strengths are, which was power, it's a powerful energy. In fact, so powerful that it controlled you, right? And it's consistent. It's always there, and it's reliable. All these positive qualities that are only uncomfortable because they've been magnified to the point of discomfort, right? And so then what we do is we find out what that part needs, which you did, and give it what it needs, which is acceptance, love, and then those qualities now under your guidance become more available to you.
Yeah.
And so tell me what's happened since then.
Well, it's actually, I remember I named it Shadow, and it was a male.
Yep.
I remember that. And I renamed it Light.
Right.
And so, and I do remember how powerful it was, how, like what Light was trying to tell me was like, I'm here for you. Use me. Like I'm here to be here for you, guide you. I've always been here for you. And so, like really having that conversation with it and understanding where it's coming from. And since then, like whenever I've had tension or situations come to me, arise, I just ask it instead of like before I'd freak out and just get into like that anxiety place, possibly have a panic attack or something. And then this time I just said, okay, like, I hear ya. Like, what are you trying to show me?
Right.
Like, okay, you're trying to help me out here. And I just talk to it and I ask it questions.
Right.
And then it just goes away.
Yeah.
It's really light and easy. And I'm like, all right, cool.
And I want to compliment you, because most people, when they come away from a very powerful exercise like that, is they feel great, and then they kind of go back to their old patterns, though.
Yeah.
And the fact that you actually consciously practice them, the continuing the dialogue, and that this part now that used to be holding you back has now become your strongest ally. Right?
Well, it's because that's what I want. Yeah, no, it's because what I've always wanted, and I never understood. Like, I've read a million books. I have them on Audible. I have the books in my library, and I read them and I do them, but not one of them that I've ever read has had this, talk to it, have this conversation, put a face to it, like really communicate with it, and that's what unlocked it for me. And if I'm serious about this work, I'm gonna do my best to, I want the change. I want it to be awesome. I mean it, so.
And the coolest thing about this is that people like yourself who have done a lot of self work before, it's like it shows up in the process, because this part of you was ready to be integrated, right? If you hadn't done that self work, it might have not wanted to participate at all. So it might take a few more sessions. But because you were ready, then it's like you already have this baseline or this foundation of self-love. But there's this polarity still going on within you. So just by exposing that polarity and seeing what's the dynamic that's going on through the process, it unlocks this key then to be able to access the fullness of the self-love work that you've been doing.
No, and it's been great too, because I've noticed my own communications, and I was just seeing how I interact with people and how I view the world, and it's just a lot easier.
Right.
I think it just comes from a lighter place. It's really interesting.
You said to me earlier that your work, all of a sudden, it was a toxic place. Now is and
it's not like the problems are not there. Like, they're still there.
Right.
They're just not connected to me. They're not part of me. Like, I don't have to. That's not part of who I am. That's just an experience. That's someone else's thing. And so I can show up the way I need to be with love, and if that's not enough for them or whatever, it's fine. It's okay. Like, I meet people where they want to meet me, and that's good.
And what you just said is the key. Is self-love is the key to everything, right? But we can only love ourselves as much as we love the parts of ourselves that we think we dislike,
That's
right?
True.
And so what happened for you, if I could put it in my words, is by loving yourself, you're now exuding love everywhere. We can't love other people and other situations until we love ourselves. And so you're doing that more fully. And so you said that work is completely shifted.
You're right, because it's like I'm loving the darkest part, like the darkest part of me.
Yes.
The darkest part of me.
Right.
Like, and
And didn't you say that there's a possible new relationship in your life? And
there's a lot of awesomeness happening.
Some really unhappy relationships happened in the past, and all of a sudden there's this
shifts. Yeah, like major shifts. And you said that. You called it.
Miracle
worker.
That's right. At the end of the session, as I always do, I said, expect everything to be different. Of course, I say that about the sweat lodge experience that we do.
True.
I say it about ceremonies.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like all of these things, even the sweat lounges, even your retreats. But this was just like, it just, you came in and, like, it's just, I had seen ninjas, it's like I never got it out. So,
as I said, you did all the important work. I just helped provide an environment for that to happen. So this is just one of the techniques, many techniques we do through life coaching and through my life coaching certification program with Living Purpose Institute. And it is just, I got to tell you, life coaching is the best job in the world. And there's so many people out there who have the natural skills to do this, who just don't know how to get there, or think that maybe it's harder than it is. And really, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's simply asking the right questions. And
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
go
have to add in,
Yeah,
because
please.
you'll see the video before, and the state that I was in.
Yeah.
And that night, after the night when I came home, my landlady came to me and said that she wants to make me happy and stay, and that she'll do whatever she can to keep me. So just so you know,
in the pivoting process,
yes,
it was all about
So-
focusing on what you want.
just have to update.
Yes, focusing on what you want as
Yeah.
far as home,
Yeah.
and or you call it sanctuary,
Yeah, it is.
and it shifted like that.
Yeah.
Right? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Thank
chills
you.
again. I love you.
I love you.